All right. So, day 3 or 4 of the Hunter Biden trial, since I didn't follow jury selection because, silly me, I didn't think that I would be getting updates, daily updates as to what's happening in the Hunter Biden trial. So anyway, this one is titled, Widow of Beau Biden Tells Jurors in Hunter Biden's Gun Trial that she threw a firearm in a trash can. So, the widow of Hunter Biden's brother told jurors in his federal gun trial Thursday about the moment she found the revolver in his truck, describing how she put it into a leather pouch, stuffed it into a shopping bag, and tossed it in a trash can outside a market near her home. I panicked and I wanted to get rid of them, she testified about finding the gun and ammunition in the vehicle's console in October 2018. I didn't want him to hurt himself, and I didn't want my kids to find it and hurt themselves. The purchase of the Colt revolver by Hunter Biden and Hallie Biden's frenzied disposal of it are the fulcrum of the case against him. Federal prosecutors say the president's son was in the throes of a heavy crack addiction when he bought the gun. He's been charged with 3 felonies, lying to a federally licensed gun dealer, making a false claim on the application by saying he was not a drug user, and illegally having the gun for 11 days. Hunter Biden, who has pleaded not guilty, has said the Justice Department is bending to political pressure from Republicans and that he's being unfairly targeted. Now, 2 things can be true at the same time. Number 1, he's guilty as sin. And number 2, it is also that this wouldn't have happened if his name wasn't Biden. Because the Republicans yowled when there was even a close proximity to a plea deal. And I'm about to sneeze. All right. So, meanwhile, President Joe Biden said in an interview with ABC he would accept the jury's verdict and ruled out a pardon for his son. How refreshing. An adult acting like an adult. Not having a temper tantrum, not going ballistic over a trial verdict, and not using pardons, throwing out pardons like they were candy. He actually respects the justice system. Who would have thunk? And the Republicans consider themselves the party of law and order. So, yeah. And the First Lady left France where attended... Oh my God, this is not a complete sentence. What the hell? The First Lady left France where attended D-Day anniversary events with the President. Oh, go away. With the President to head back to Wilmington. Okay, and the First Lady left France where she attended D-Day anniversary events with the President to head back to Wilmington. She was expected to attend the trial again Friday before returning to France for a state dinner. Wow. She's really racking up the miles there. Hallie Biden, who had a brief romantic relationship with Hunter after Beau Biden died in 2015, testified that from the time Hunter returned to Delaware from a 2018 trip to California until she threw his gun away, she did not see him using drugs. That time period included the day he bought the weapon. And as I mentioned yesterday, that doesn't necessarily mean he wasn't using just because she didn't see him. But it does, increase the chance that, well, he didn't. It depends on how much it's on him during that time. Much of her testimony focused on October 23, 2018, 11 days after he bought the gun and when she tossed it. Hunter was staying with her and seemed exhausted. Asked by the prosecutor if it appeared that Hunter was using drugs around then, she said, "He could have been." As Hunter slept in her home, Hallie Biden went to check his car. She said she was hoping to help him get or stay sober, free of both alcohol and cocaine. She said she found the remnants of a crack cocaine and drug paraphernalia. She also found the gun Hunter purchased in a box with a broken lock that kept it from fully closing. There was ammunition, too. Hallie said she considered hiding the gun, but thought her kids might find it, so she decided to throw it away. Makes sense. "I realize it was a stupid idea now, but I was panicking," she said. I don't know how stupid it was. Maybe throwing it in the trash wasn't the brightest idea. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know if giving it to the police, because that's what got them into this position to begin with. But, I don't know, going to a pawn shop and selling it or something? Or going to the gun store and, returning it? Those are ideas. I honestly do not know how else to dispose of a gun. Hunter Biden watched expressionless from the courtroom during her testimony. She told jurors that she found crack at her home and saw him using it. She was with him occasionally when he saw dealers. Prosecutor Leah Wise asked Hallie about her 2018 trip to California, where she visited Hunter at the Roosevelt Hotel, and asked her whether she was also using drugs. "Yes, I was," she said. "And who introduced you to it?" "Hunter did," Hallie said, as Hunter rested his face on his hands and looked down. "'Cause he knows he's screwed." Either that or hearing her say what happened, kind of, even though he did a memoir and he is clean and sober now and he understands what he did, it's gotta be just heart-wrenching to hear her say that and know that you're the cause. "It was a terrible experience that I went through, and I'm embarrassed and ashamed, and I regret that period of my life," she added. Hallie testified she stopped using drugs in August 2018, but that Hunter continued smoking crack. Much of the prosecution's case has been dedicated to highlighting the seriousness of his crack addiction and showcasing to jurors bare-chested moments with ex-girlfriends, again, relevance, infidelity, again, relevance, and crack pipes. That's relevant. Judgment lapses they believe prove he was actively using when he checked no on the form. I'm sorry. I don't think Trump uses crack. He has no problems with infidelity. I'm not sure what the relevance is. The only thing that... And bare-chested moments with ex-girlfriends? Well, usually when you're dating someone, for most people, that involves sexy time. So, again, how does that prove anything? The crack pipe in all of this is the only thing that is actually relevant to anything. Prosecutors argue that the evidence is necessary to show his state of mind when he bought the gun. Again, how is any of that relevant? Okay, he was cheating. Again, we just had a Trump trial where it shows that Trump cheated. So, but he wasn't doing crack. So, again, relevance? I have no idea where the relevance is. So anyway, I thought there was something else. Now, there was something else about this that I wanted to mention. I wanted to highlight. I don't know. After Hallie Biden threw the unloaded gun in the trash can at Jansen's Market, he noticed it missing and asked her whether she had taken it. "Are you insane?" he texted. He told her to go back to the market to look for it. Surveillance footage played for jurors showed her digging around the trash can for the gun, but it wasn't there. She asked her officials if someone had taken out the trash. Hallie said Hunter told her to file a police report because the gun was registered in his name. She called the police while she was still at the store. Officers located the man who inadvertently took the gun along with other recyclables from the trash and retrieved it. The case was eventually closed because of lack of cooperation from Hunter Biden, who would have been considered the victim. Jurors also heard from the officers who handled the case and from the man who found the gun. The Democratic president's son arrived at court Thursday with a copy of his memoir, Beautiful Things, tucked under his arm. The book, written after he got sober in 2021, figures heavily into prosecutors' case. They played audio excerpts for jurors in which he details his descent into drugs and alcohol following the death of his brother in 2015 from cancer. Defense attorney Abe Lowell has said Hunter Biden's state of mind was different when he wrote the book than when he purchased the gun, when he didn't believe he had an addiction. And he suggested Hunter Biden might have felt he had a drinking problem at the time, but not a drug problem. Alcohol abuse doesn't preclude a gun purchase. And like I mentioned yesterday, just because someone doesn't think they have an issue with drugs does not mean they don't. And besides, the form asks if you're a drug user, not abuser. I mean, they do say drug use or abuse, but it's not, that, if you just use drugs, you're fine. It's just, do you abuse drugs? That was not the question. Plus, like I also mentioned yesterday, alcohol is a drug. Granted, it's a legal drug, but it is a mind-altering substance. Jurors have also heard from the gun store clerk, who testified about he walked Hunter Biden through a few options before he settled on the $900 gun. The clerk then watched as the customer filled out the firearms transaction record, a required document for the purchase of a gun, and saw him check off no to the question of whether he was an unlawful user of or addicted to marijuana, stimulants, narcotics, or any other controlled substance. Gordon Cleveland, the former clerk at StarQuest Shooters and Survival Supply, said he saw Biden sign the form, which includes a warning about the consequences of submitting false information. Gordon Cleveland. I wonder if he's any relation to the former President Grover Cleveland. Some sort of descendant of him. Anyway, in his cross-examination Thursday, Lowell pointed out that some of the questions on the form are in the present tense, such as, are you an unlawful user of or addicted to drugs? He has suggested Hunter Biden did not believe he had an active drug problem, which, as I've mentioned before, and I will keep mentioning, that is not what the question said. It said, are you either or? You can be a drug user without being a drug abuser. So, yeah, but you're still a drug user. So, yeah, if you're using drugs, I mean, by that logic, the day you get out of rehab, by his logic, the day after you get out of rehab, you could, purchase a gun. Because I'm curious, how long do you have to be off drugs? How long do you have to be clean and sober before you can buy a gun? That, so far, hasn't been discussed. because they're trying to prove that he was using the day he, right around the time he bought the gun. But I'm just curious, how long do you have to be clean and sober before you can purchase a gun? The proceedings are unfolding after the collapse of a plea deal that would have resolved the gun charge and a separate tax case, and spared the Biden family of the spectacle of a trial so close to the 2024 election, which, of course, was the whole point. The Republicans wanted this because they want to embarrass Joe Biden. They want to put him in a headspace where he'll just be an even worse president than they already think he is, and that would make life easier for them to regain the White House. The president's sister, Valerie, was in court Thursday. First Lady Jill Biden spent the first part of the week there before leaving for France. Allies worry about the toll the proceedings will take on the president, who is deeply concerned about the health and sustained sobriety of his only living son, because he's a good father. He actually gives a crap about his kids. So, yeah. If convicted, Hunter Biden faces up to 25 years in prison, though first-time offenders do not get anywhere near the maximum, and it's unclear whether the judge would give him time behind bars. And like I said, if he doesn't, the Republicans are going to yell, regardless of what sentencing Marshawn gives Trump. They're going to yell that justice was somehow denied because Hunter Biden isn't getting the death penalty or something. He also faces a separate trial in September on charges of failing to pay $1.4 million in taxes. The trial is playing out shortly after Donald Trump, the presumptive Republican presidential nominee, was convicted of 34 felonies in New York City. The two criminal cases are unrelated, but their proximity underscores how the courts have taken center stage during the 2024 campaign. And not only that, it also underscores how both sides treat the justice system. Trump only likes the justice system when the people he doesn't like are being sentenced. But he thinks the Justice Department, just like the justice system, just like the election, is rigged if anything bad happens to him. Whereas you have Hunter Biden, he's going through the process, he pled not guilty. He is guilty, but that's a different story. And Joe Biden is going to accept the verdict no matter what, and he's not going to pardon Hunter because he knows that, well, for one thing, the optics would be horrible. And he also, as much as he loves his son, understands that, there's consequences to your actions, and he can't save you just because of who he is. Hunter has to sink or swim on his own. He made bad choices, and now he's got to pay for them. But Joe understands that, even though it probably breaks his heart to do it. So anyway, that is all I have for this article. So with that, I will see you guys in the next video.